Well, hello there, it's Ina here, and welcome to my art room. Like many of you know, I have been playing around with creating animals from bits and pieces, recycled materials, and I want to try something a bit larger. So I will be going for an elephant today, and this little lantern here will be a good basic starting point. I also have these wooden building blocks, and I think they will make some legs. Now I picked the elephant because he's very sturdy, and so I shouldn't have a problem to have him, stand on its own. Plus, he has such unique features that nobody could mistake him for something else. And yet, I am not a sculptor, so I am not sure how any of this is going to turn out, but I do want to give it a try and take you along on my journey. So I removed the little tea light holder from the lantern and I want to extend it using some bracelets and this little round bowl, which I have absolutely no idea what it was originally intended for. Like always, I use the E6000 to glue everything down. On occasion, I use my hot glue gun just to create an initial hold. And here I trace and cut out a couple of ears from another toy piece as I just couldn't find the right shape in my little stash of trash and junk. But otherwise I will use mostly ready-made pieces, bottle tops, packaging, like this little plastic lid. And yes, that's my grandson who really wanted his hands in the video. Here I am adding a couple of beads so that I can attach those ears at the angle I need them to be. And of course, all this needs to be propped up and it needs to dry. Actually, there are a lot of drying times during this project. Here I am attaching the legs and I'm using the hot glue gun and a little penny from the inside so it attaches more secure. And later I will also add some of the E6000. So here I add another little plastic bowl. It's from a kid's toy, just a half a shell. And I mark it where I need to make some slits so I can press it into that lantern. And for that, I use my wood burning tool. So I attach the base of the head here to the body in preparation for more details. Next, the trunk. I have a hose, but in order for me to bend it and for it to keep its shape, I inserted some wire. I braided it until it was very strong and pretty much filled up the hose, and then I was able to bend it and attach it. And then I am starting to add all kinds of details. Some are kids' toys, there are some handyman items, some packaging, and then of course a lot of my broken jewelry pieces. Now I do change my mind quite a bit, especially here on the head. So some of the elements you saw are already disappearing, others will disappear later because I found a better solution. This is a glow stick cut in half I will use for his tusk. Now just around here I realized that the front legs were not positioned properly, so I took them off. I cut a little groove into the wood and then glued them back on much further up front, and this will balance out the elephant way better. I again used a little coin to the inside and then I proceeded with more doodads, including the tail. So here is a little look. There is a curler, there are some pieces from a computer, not too much yet, but I think the head is coming along. And next I use some more toys to beef up his legs. And here I show you that I altered the top of those wooden legs by taking some of the material away so they are less bulky. And here are again more kids' toys, which I remove later on. This is a bracelet that I bent out of shape and it will make a nice tummy. And then I use some flexible jewelry pieces. I use some large half circle beads here on the legs and also some clothespins. So I started off by using all these plastic bits and bobs to give my elephant the initial shape I need, and now I will continue with my broken jewelry bits. Now, to put this elephant together was quite a lengthy process. So, like so often, I won't be able to show you every little step of what I glued to him, what I took back off, what I changed, but I think you will get a basic idea of how I went about putting him together. So I will let you listen to a little bit of music. If I have to explain something, I will do so in the captions. Now and then I will slow down the video so you can get an update, and I will talk to you towards the end. Enjoy. So here is my elephant, and he's finally done. It took a little while because it's my first slightly bigger sculpture and a bit above creating insects and reptiles. So I think not too shabby. Of course, in hindsight, I can say that maybe some of the proportions I could have gotten better. He's slightly chubby. His ears could have been a bit bigger. Maybe his legs a bit rounder. But altogether, I'm happy with the way he came out. I like the teal background, of course, but also the highlights, the metallic highlights I added to it. Now, I hope my camera picks it up, but I think it looks pretty cool. And of course, the metallic colors bring out the details even more. Now here in the front I added that single earring, and it has tiny pink stones, and because of it I added some of the pink wax, and together with the bronze and the gold rub and buff, I think it really added to the teal background. So here he is. I'm happy with the coloring. And now to some more details. I added those two gold bead caps right here on his tusks. And then it has a tiny little gold bead on his tail. So not too many movable parts on this guy, except of course that you can open him. Now the inside is completely black, and at some point I had thought about adding a light string in here. But really only this middle part has holes where the light could shine through. The back is pretty dense, the head is pretty dense, and of course the legs have no hollow part at all. So it really didn't have the effect I thought it might have, but I think it could be used for storage. I added a little bag in it if you have something dark which doesn't show up from the outside. Then I think this is a nice hiding spot. There's enough room for 2 or 3 of those little bags, or whatever somebody might want to stash away inside this elephant. So, and otherwise, well, you saw me add all those different bits and pieces of jewelry, and I was lucky to have a few that I was able to bend, which made it way easier, like this one here on the top, and the same I used here on his chest. Then this thing here was actually beads connected to a piece of felt, and so it moves, and that's important so that his head can go back and it doesn't get stuck. And I was able to place it in a way that it lines up nicely with these 2 big metal leaves right here. Now this piece was also bendable, so was this really big pennon back here, and so on. I used a lot of little bracelets and necklaces that were able to fit nicely in the different shapes. And yes, it's slightly symmetrical, because in some sense it's easier that way. If I find out how to decorate one leg on one side, it's easier to use the same pieces on the other side as well. Here on the bottom, of course, I added some of this plastic ribbon right here, and then of course it has foot nails too on all the feet. And yes, he is nice and sturdy, nice big belly, and here again is a tiny little elephant charm right there on its belly. And there are some tiny details, little feathers. I have a seahorse, I have a little turtle up here, there's a heart, and I added some gears, not too many. There are some here in the back, there are some up here in the front for his kneecaps, I guess. There are a couple hidden here and there. So mostly it's really broken jewelry bits, and I was glad I had enough to finish him up, because it took quite a few layers here and there, and some doing. So as you saw throughout the video, I put things on, I took them off, I tried different ways. So at the end he was really covered mostly with metal pieces. These 2 here, they were originally red. I actually a little piece of toy, because I was able to bend it and therefore get the more round belly shape. But most everything else is metal. There are a little bit of plastic peeks through here and there. Well, before I painted it. Now nobody can tell the difference. So that's it for my little elephant. I don't know if there's a whole lot more to say. I think you saw the process, even though not every step was included. I believe you got a pretty good idea of how he came to be. All right, so that's it As far as the elephant is concerned, I hope you enjoyed the video and maybe it gave you some idea and inspired you to use some recycled materials to create a sculpture. I really had fun with this guy and definitely want to try my hand again at some other animal or sculpture. I just have to see. I have no ideas right now, but I'm sure it will come. So thank you very much for coming today. I really appreciate you visiting with me and hope to see you soon again. I will be back latest by next Friday. I can't wait to hear from you. Stay safe, stay creative, and bye bye for now.